knows me. Why nobody knows me better than I do.
Well, my name is Martin Gershwitz. I'm a keyboard player, violin player, singer. I started all this when I was very young. I was born in a family with 6 kids. My dad was a church organ player. My mom had flute students, about 200 at a time, altogether over the years, probably 10,000. And we were all, when we were like 5 years old, everybody had to play the flute, the upright flute. It was mandatory, literally. And we were 6 years old, everybody had to play the piano. Again, mandatory. And when we were like 9 years old, we had to play a string instrument. In my case, it was the violin. In my sister's case, the viola. In my brother's case, the cello. Anyway, so by the time we grew up, or during the time we grew up, each one of us played 3 instruments, but strictly classical stuff. And since my dad was a church organ player, I was the guy who showed probably the most interest at piano. He took me to the church and showed me how to play the church organ at an age of like 7 or 8. And for example, I played the Johann Sebastian Bach Toccata and Fugue. I mean, as good as a 6-year-old or 8-year-old can play it, you know. So I finished high school, I enrolled in university, and I studied 5.5 years to become music teacher for high school, because I thought this was probably the broadest experience I could gather in a relatively short time, because you had to play piano anyway, I had to play violin or viola, either way. You always have to play 2 instruments. You learned the theory. You learned how to score, you learned how to read music perfectly, even if you read 4 staffs with all different keys. So I came over to America, Southern California. Los Angeles was still happening those days in the mid-'80s. And I hooked up immediately, literally within 3 weeks, with Tim Bogart from Vanilla Fudge, the bass player. And he took me under his wings, and he always said, "Martin, my German friend, come, let's play music together." Open position as a keyboard player for Lita Ford. I didn't have no idea who she was, to be honest. And I just picked up a tape and was scheduled 3 days later to come for an audition. So I went in for audition, I got the gig after 2 auditions. The first one was just keyboards, the second one was for vocals. And as I mentioned before, I was not much of a singer. And I thought, oh, here we go, here goes the job. But it didn't. For some reason, I passed the audition. And then we went on the road back in 1987. And we went on the road with Poison. Actually, it was 88. Poison, Ted Nugent, Yngwie Malmsteen. And then we got the big one, being opening act for Bon Jovi. And if you recall, in 1988, 89, they were the biggest band in the world. Funny enough, I got a call from Meatloaf, and some of his band members had seen me performing at the Beacon Theater in New York with Lita Ford. And when it came time for Meatloaf to need another keyboard player, the guys in his band remembered me, and they said, "Give that guy a call," you know. And so we got together and we played together, and it was wonderful. And I jammed with a bunch of other bands simultaneously while I was in Southern California, and got to know Walter Trout, and he's a fantastic blues player, blues rock player, kind of like Stevie Ray Vaughan. And he just came, he used to be with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, and a lot of great guitar players went through that school. You know, like Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page, they were all at times with John Mayall, right? Anyway, so I ended up playing with him, and we had a great time. We toured the world, literally like 4 continents and tons of countries. Not so much in America. I mean, he was really well known everywhere else, but not in the US. Very strange thing. And I wanted to start my own band right there. And I got a call from Eric Burdon. And I was looking at my wife at that time, and I thought, what am I supposed to do now? I really wanted to do my own thing, and now I get this offer. I mean, it's Eric Burdon and the Animals. Oh my God, you know. Well, we decided I should do this for a while. And it was the right decision, because a lot of people in the world got to know me as well, and we played everywhere. I mean, it was just incredible. We were gone like 240 days a year. Weirdly enough, though, about maybe 5 years earlier, I had gotten to know the bass player for Iron Butterfly. He lived about a mile and a half down the street from me, down in Southern California. And I did local appearances every now and then. And he showed up, and we jammed in a Casa de Vida. Incidentally, I've jammed this song with each and every band in my life without knowing ultimately I would end up in the band. And they were my childhood heroes. When that record came out, I was just mesmerized back in '68. Anyway, so he constantly told me, Martin, come on, join us. We want you, we need you. I said, Lee, I'm with the Animals. I can't do both. And with you guys, I would be frontman and lead singer. I can't do that simultaneously. Hang in there a little bit. Something will happen. And funny enough, it did happen. We got canned from Eric Burdon, you know, and so I called Lee, and overnight I was in Iron Butterfly. No audition, nothing. It's just, okay, you got the job. And it was just wonderful. And if you ever want to realize your dreams and be there where you always wanted to be, that was right there the moment where it's like, yes, I'm playing with my childhood heroes. What I didn't forget, though, what I was mentioning before, I still wanted to do my own thing as well. I had started my own band during the last Eric Burdon years already, and toured Europe with my band, and put out CD, a video. So my project is started in 2003. I played with the Animals till 2005, and then immediately joined Iron Butterfly, and still maintaining my own band, and still going on tour in Europe. For some reason, never really America, other than every now and then we did gigs in Southern California. Had probably to do with the fact that the band was made out of 4 Germans, but 2 of us lived in Los Angeles, which was interesting too. And I just thought I have to pull this thing through, and I figured Iron Butterfly is not as busy or not as old, they're actually older than the Eric Burdon band was, so I assumed they wouldn't tour as much. And I was right. We only toured like way less than Eric Burdon. I mean, like I said, Eric Burdon, we were gone for 240 days a year, with Iron Butterfly maybe 60. So I had a heck of a lot of time left to play with my own band and write songs.
Imagine that you had a full and rich life. You died when you were 95. Mm-hmm. And miraculously, your closest friends, family members and friends, they're still alive. And they're having a memorial service to commemorate your life. What would you like them to say about you?
I wish he had paid us the debts back. No, just kidding. I'd like them just to talk about me as the person that I was. Just not as a rock star or whatever you want to call it. No, just a guy you could talk to, you could have fun with, you could sit down, have a beer with, who generally cares about people. I got that trait from my mom, actually. I think she keeps living in me. Every day I find out I have another trait of my mom. Basically, I respect everybody. I do not disrespect somebody because of, let's say, race, age, different tastes, anything, you know. I talk to everybody and make them feel as welcome as possible. And so as soon as, or as long as my friends and my family remember that, that would be nice if they said that about me. I don't need anything else of the rock and roll life, you know. I'm just a normal human being like you and I.
You'd like on your tombstone that captured the life of Martin Dershowitz. What would it be?
You never know unless you try. Story of my life.